Well, good morning. We're going to go into the afternoon with this session. I want to welcome all of you to the CAPSA Symposium by the Missouri After School Network and our special Lunch and Learn session today. And we were really delighted that we get the chance to share with you the work that we've been doing. Actually started with one student summit, but I'll let Matthew and Joseph share a little bit more about that. But it started back in 2018 and late 2018, I think it was December of 2018 was our first event. And then we've weathered the pandemic and continued to work through a lot of this to make this happen with several programs across the state. But just so you're aware, again, the reason we call it CAPSA rather than College and Career Readiness was when we first started this work. When I came to the network in July of 2019, one of the first deliverables on the Mott grant was to put together a state partners task force. And our first meeting in August of 2019, those ladies and gentlemen said, when looking at this work, we want to make sure that we give the biggest scope possible for students. So they said, why don't we change the name of this? And then we started bantering about different ways of saying that. And we settled on career awareness and post-secondary access. And that has that big swath of whether a student's going to go to college or they're going to jump into a journeyman's position, or they're going to find some kind of work-based opportunity after high school, whatever that might be. We want to help students find that. And one of the ways we want to do that is by help them find their second to none life. I'm not going to say any more about that, but I want to introduce our friends, Matthew and Joseph Moybon from 220 Leadership. They're going to share about the initiative that we've been doing with high school students across the state in the after school space. And then invite you, if you're interested in joining us as we continue to do this work. So Matthew and Joseph, thank you so much for joining us, and you guys take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark. It's really awesome to be here. We're excited, grateful to be featured in the Lunch and Learn with you all. So thank you for allowing us to be here. My name is Matthew Moybon. I'm the co-founder of an organization called 220, an organization I actually started with my brother, Joseph, who's also on the call. And the mission of our organization is to solve the world's challenges by helping every person access their unlimited potential. Big mission, we know, but it's something that we are super passionate about, and it was our calling. And the way that we do that is primarily through our online platform, which has courses, content, and tools that organizations can use to help youth, every single youth they work with, become a leader, creator, and/or entrepreneur. And this is something that we discovered early on ourselves, that entrepreneurship was our calling. We knew that Joseph and I, as brothers, thanks to our dad and our uncle, and actually a family of entrepreneurs, that we wanted to start a company together. And we started working on it actually back in 2009 as a summer camp, because we wanted to try something. And we ended up teaching a middle school leadership camp on character development and starting to think about choosing their unrealistic career. And we absolutely fell in love with it and knew that eventually that was what we wanted to start. And as we started creating the initial ideas for this company, we realized that our journey, we were really fortunate to have a lot of interventions and learn a lot of lessons that weren't necessarily provided in the classroom. It was fortunate to be with our uncle sitting down after college and getting a one-on-one budgeting session from him, who he owns his own wealth management firm, being able to get exposed to different entrepreneurs, having incredible mentors, learning really incredible intangible skills, because we were fortunate to have great coaches. And we realized that these lessons that we got by chance, we didn't want to leave to chance. We didn't think anybody should have to leave those to chance, any students. So we wanted to create something that we wish we would have had, which was a formal program that told students early on, hey, you can do absolutely anything you want. You have incredible gifts that you can contribute to the world, and you can turn that into a career that lights you up and base your entire life around it. We call that their second to none life. And the name of our company, 220, stands for second to none. So that's what we try to do with every youth that we work with, every organization that we work with. And we do that with different kinds of organizations all over the country. We work with workforce development agencies, schools, after school programs, after school networks. And it's been awesome and exciting to see how many different applications it has all over the country. And one of the main way that we do that is we organize our courses into 4 different tracks. These are the 4 tracks that we feel are critical no matter what students' future goals are or where they are now. The leadership course, which encourages them actually to think about self-leadership first, creating a compelling future vision for their life, and then reverse engineering the steps they need to get there. And then from there, providing them with the skills that they're going to need to actually go on that journey and accomplish their goals. So we have a resume course, an interview course to land the dream job that every youth has. Or if they want to go a different route and start their own company, we also have an entrepreneurship course that walks them through the company creation process. Or even if they don't want to be an entrepreneur, they can go through and get those critical creativity and problem solving skills that they're going to need no matter what in the 21st century. And then everyone is going to need personal finance skills, budgeting. We were fortunate to learn these lessons from our dad and from our uncle, but we wanted to create a formal course that walks students through the process of creating a budgeting plan and understanding and simplifying money so that they could use it as a tool, not something that should be the ultimate goal or that's too intimidating to actually set big or risky goals or do something that they love. So those are the primary ways that we do that. And then when students complete those courses, we have different certificates that they can earn. They can use these in a variety of ways. They can pull these bullets and use them on their resume, or they can actually display these in portfolios or on LinkedIn, however they want to use it. And so we do that, like we said, with a lot of partners all over the country, but we actually have a pretty unique partnership with Missouri that has really evolved over the last several years. And as Mark mentioned, it started with a student leadership summit in 2018 that went really well, and we generated a lot of momentum and excitement. But at the time, that's all it was. And since then, it's really evolved into more of the summit being just a kickoff to a longer cohort process using our online courses and curriculum on the back end, which we'll talk more about in a second. So the cohort, like we said, we have a lot of partnerships where we do use those courses. That's the primary way that we work with the schools, after school programs, workforce development agencies. But this summit is really cool because it gives students the opportunity to not only get some of this content in a live, really high energy environment, they get to experience it on a college campus and actually get, for some of them, on a college campus for the very first time. And we've heard from a lot of students that they didn't think about college before. They didn't think college was possible for them until they actually got there, and it got them so excited that they started to consider college for themselves. And then we use that summit, like we said, to kick off the cohort model, which is really a year-long learning cohort where we support the after-school organizations all over the state of Missouri using the courses. We support them using those courses with their students through webinars and through weekly office hours that they can book. So we'll talk more about each of these in a second. So with the summit, we're actually going to play a highlight video from the original 2018 summit. But like we said, this is an opportunity for students to come on campus. They get to kick off our first content track, which is the leadership course, using in-person, really engaging activities. It's super high energy. We always get great feedback from instructors and students. And then they get to pair that with a campus tour from campus reps at the actual college that we're at. We've done one at Mizzou, Missouri State, and what am I missing, Mark?
Southeast Missouri State.
Southeast Missouri, which we'll be back at later this spring, which is super exciting. And so we use that as a kickoff point to then lead into the rest of the summit. And like we said, these are some snapshots from the highlight video that we'll play at the end. But this is what makes this Missouri partnership so unique and awesome, is that not only are we using this statewide, but we have these awesome in-person summits to do it. And then we go into the courses, which we mentioned. And what we're doing is we're actually starting with our first track and using that as the follow-up from the summit. And programs have the option to actually use this in one of two ways. They can use this in instructor-led sessions where an instructor is leading students through an after-school program using lesson plans, more of a traditional curriculum, classroom-style setting. Or we actually have the option for students to get that same content on their own with their own accounts. So depending on what the best setup is for the organization, they have the option to use either or. But what's great is that that content mirrors each other. And so we come together for these professional learning communities, these webinars. Instructors get to talk about students going through the same content all over the state. And it's really cool to hear about the students from St. Louis having similar experiences to the students in the most rural parts of Missouri. And just that connection and that community that we build through the webinars is really, really powerful. And so we use those as learning opportunities. We use those as collaboration opportunities, and even as an accountability checkpoint to stick to the schedule to progress through all 18 of the leadership modules. And so we're working through those this spring, and then we're actually going to start a new cohort with the summit that we have at Southeast Missouri State at the end of February to take them through the leadership course as well. And then we're going to continue on with those additional courses you saw, the professional track with the resume and interview, entrepreneurship, and personal finance. And then an additional way that we support these after-school professionals and instructors leading students through is weekly office hours. They can book one-on-one meetings with us if they're having any technical issues, if they want to talk through any challenges they're facing, or just brainstorm on different ways that they can implement the curriculum. We offer that support as well. And so that is all I had, Mark. I wanted to make sure we have time for questions and also for the video, which we could play now if that works for you, and I can stop sharing my screen.
Yeah, let's play the video. And then if you guys have any questions, then we'll do that as we kind of finish up. And we like to be able to just share as much as possible. So yeah, let me share this video, and then we'll have a Q&A at the end.
Campus this morning, we've had the 220 leadership guys doing a little training for our after-school students from across the state of Missouri. Taking it seriously, and the kids are listening when it comes time to write things down and to share out. The kids have really kind of given themselves, and not just playing around with it, but really giving it some thought.
These guys with unrealistic goals, it doesn't have to be these world-changing inventions. It doesn't have to be you being famous. It's just unrealistic defined by you.
I'm at Mizzou University at the Student Center, and I'm just learning about leadership and long-term goals and short-term goals.
I would write down things like, oh, well, this is what I should want, and this is what needs to be done, but never has it been what I actually wanted to do. After today, it was like, finally I can say, like, I can do what I want to do.
Anybody who has ever doubted themselves needs to go through a course like this, because I've had times like that, and this is just opening my mind and helping me realize that what seems impossible is really right within your reach.
It was always kind of there, but I didn't really realize it until today.
I've seen some people throughout this conference get pretty wide-eyed because they're now realizing that it's not such a small world. There's a lot of things you can do, and nothing is out of reach.
They can achieve what they want to achieve. It will take work, it will take planning. It's within their reach to go after those goals, to set the goals of college or career, and to figure out how am I going to get where I want to be.
I think one of the keys for me when I watch that, I'm holy cow, I get all the goosebumps on top of goosebumps again, because as Katie said in the chat, if you haven't experienced it and you want to do so, it's worth it. Do yourself a favor and bring your students to a student summit. Again, we're trying to move those around the state to make it convenient. We had the event last fall at Missouri State. So we had a higher concentration of students from Southwest and South Central Missouri, but we had some students from St. Louis that made the trip down. We've done them at Mizzou. We've done one at SEMO. We're going back to SEMO. again, February 28th. But to me, I go back to what Najma said earlier. When we look at trying to find solutions and giving students some real types of handles for them, to me, being in that student summit, they're with kids, they're with students, they're with their peers, doing like-minded things within a place that's no judgment. Everybody has, I love the way Matthew and Joseph say, hey, no limits here. Let's just go for this as they process through their 220 life and what their big dreams and their big audacious goals and dreams are. And then the opportunity to support the programs. This is what we're saying is, and you look at kind of where we are now and what Matthew talked about with the modules that we have, and then the supports weekly with Matthew and Joseph and Kristen, and then the continued support through our PLC, our CAPSA PLC, where then programs can come together and share. To me, we feel very, very, really grateful that we get to do this and we continue to build on this. So anyway, I get pretty fired up about it because first of all, my kids got to participate in the program that I directed, that I was a part of. And then now I still get to see them do that. And they're still carrying that on and building on that, on those foundations. Matthew mentioned earlier, we're going to do the summit at the end of February 28th at SEMO, but we're also making plans for another fall summit. And our goal then would be for those students who came to the summits in 2021 and early 2022, and they come to the fall summit in 2022, there'll be another track for them. So we'll run a dual track summit for those entry-level students who haven't been. They can start and go through that beginning of the leadership, and then the next module for those students who, so again, it's scaffolding. What we're doing is we're building for them to have this portfolio, these experiences, these opportunities, so that when they leave high school, they've got these resources and these experiences to build on for them to be successful as they leave high school. So that's the goal here. I'll quit talking now, and if anybody has any questions, we've got a time for Q&A.
Thanks, Mark, for all that. And I would just, finish with, we're very grateful for the vision for Missouri After School Network to get this started back in 2018 and to grow with us, and the support that they offer combined with the support that they have crafted for us to provide to the programs and the students is one of the, again, most unique partnerships that we have in terms of just the absolute commitment to help students not just have this one-time great experience at the summit, but to have it be a transformational experience and to continue on with the curriculum to support each student through their journey towards their ultimate goals and their second to none 220 life. So we're just really grateful and excited to be partners with Missouri, and we are here to grow this to be as big as we possibly can get it in the state of Missouri. There's really just that's our whole mission, is to help as many students as possible. And so, we would love to encourage you to check it out if you're interested, and the summit is a great way to get introduced to it.
I would also add one of the things about working directly with Matthew Joseph in this is that the program may decide. So you hear them talk, you've heard us talk about entrepreneurship, and there's going to be an afternoon session focusing on middle school engagement in career innovation and exploration, and with Venture Lab. And we know that entrepreneurship, the mindsets and the skill sets that come with entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial thinking are the kinds of career-ready skills that students need, that young people need when they're going into adult life. And so that is a module. And what I want to say is programs may decide, hey, this is the module we want to focus on. We just found that out during our PLC. What was so exciting was I didn't realize that the leader of the Jennings program was actually the school day teacher for entrepreneurship. They had done some leadership things with their students, so they decided that they were going to go through the entrepreneurship module. Again, you need to know what's best in your context, and the fact that we have options for you within this curriculum is very, very key. And you would work through that with Matthew and Joseph to figure out what's best in your context, but know that you're going to get a great foundation at that summit, and then we'll build from there. I know that Katie mentioned something in the chat. I also would say if there's anybody else that has participated, feel free to unmute and and share for a quick moment. But if not, we also can give you guys back a few minutes before the next session too. But we want to make sure we answer any questions. But in the meantime, if you have any other questions, I'm going to put mine and Aaron's. Aaron, if you'll put your email in the chat, I'll put mine in the chat. Matthew and Joseph, theirs will go in there as well. So that if you have any questions at all about this initiative and the work that we're doing, and you want to get some more info, feel free to let us know. Tyler had a question there, Matthew.
Program staff that are high school students, would the summit be good for them? Oh, so those are other high school students, Tyler?
I think those would be the possibly students that work in the program, the elementary after school program. So would the summit be good for those high school students?
Oh,
I couldn't unmute for a second, but I'm good now. Yeah, so we have a couple, we don't have a high school program. We only have an elementary and early childhood program. But just this year, we've started hiring juniors and seniors in high school to work the elementary program. So would this be a good opportunity for them to go and get some more like leadership things, and or is it more specific like for them to be in a high school program?
I'll let Mark answer that, because my answer is always going to be yes.
Yes. And here's the thing about that, Tyler. So if you've got some students that you feel like that would work for and they are interested, then let us know and we will make sure that we make that happen, and we'll figure out how that would happen for them and do the follow-up work. I think the summit, and Katie just came on video. So Katie, you jump in here. The summit is good for every student because they are with other high school students from across the state, engaging in a very highly interactive, and it is challenging them to really look at what is it they want to see happen for their life. Katie, you can jump in. So I would say yes. And then if you have some students that are interested, please let me know and we'll talk about that time.
Sorry, I wasn't able to unmute. There was some things going on. Yeah, I say anybody that can come in contact with this program is going to benefit from it. It doesn't have to be specifically for a high school program or a middle school program, because I've seen the impact over time. Because the first summit we went to was at Mizzou in the beginning of 2020, and then I've seen kind of the effects of how that impacted those kids that are actually, some of them are attending Mizzou right now because of that summit, which is really cool. And then I've seen the impact it's made on my current students, who are mostly sophomores this year, and the ideas they get and the planning they're doing for their futures has been huge, because these are not kids that maybe would traditionally be looked at as like the super high flyers. And now they're becoming the super high flyers because of their better goal setting skills. So I think it's great all around.
And not to correct you, Katie, but the first one was 2018 that you took the kids in December of 2018. So it goes back a little bit further.
Wow. I'm in a time warp. I don't know what year it is anymore. Sorry.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you, Katie, very much for sharing that. Yeah, Katie's been awesome. Her students have been awesome. All right. Well, if nobody has any more questions, feel free to reach out anytime. Just when I put our emails in the chat, we'd love to talk to you about the opportunity for you and your students, and would ideally love for you to be part of one of these cohorts that the Missouri After School Network is sponsoring. It's an incredible opportunity, and we would love to have you. But thank you again for coming and allowing us to be a part of this Lunch and Learn. And thank you all for what you do for our youth and our students.
Thanks, Matthew. Thank you for doing this. And Brad, I didn't have the link. Did the link go in for any, do we want to do an evaluation on this? Oh, it's in there. Always ahead of the game. All right, gang, we will see you at 12:15. If you can join us for the opening afternoon plenary session, there'll be 3 other sessions this afternoon that you can also hit. So thanks a lot for being with us. And again, this will be available for you to share with other folks. The recording will be available after the symposium. Thanks again.